6 o'clock in Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean. Morning, Barbados.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning to you. Good morning, 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 morning. Good morning to you.
It is Friday the 3rd of June, 2011. A fantastic Friday morning to all of you. I'm Pearson Bowen. Morning, ladies.
Good morning. I'm Cassandra Crawford. Nice to be with you this lovely Friday morning, and let's hope that there's a great day ahead. Katrina, how are you today?
I am excited because the rally is tomorrow.
We know this.
We know this. Good morning. I'm
Finally.
Katrina Marshall, a very enthusiastic racing fan, saying good morning to you this morning. If you are planning on following the all-stage rally this weekend, either the Saturday or Sunday, please be safe and listen to the marshals. But enjoy, you know what it's like. So yeah, that's why I'm happy this
We're going to
morning.
plant yourself in rural. You know, you can go have a great time at rally.
I'm getting there at 6:30 in the morning to get my spot.
Yes,
I really
up
am.
4 Hill.
Up 4 Hill.
Yeah.
Up 4 Hill. I have to give Charles a call.
20 feet above the ground,
20 feet above the ground.
Lovely.
And I'm following it on Sunday in a vehicle.
Lovely. Excitement.
You're following on Sunday in a vehicle. All right. If you would have got up this morning very early and switched to some international channels just to keep abreast of what's happening, Mladic, his trial, his pre-trial, so to speak, has begun in The Hague, the War Crimes Tribunal in The Hague, and he has used some very strong words. They thought that he came into court looking relatively disheveled and a little bit uncertain of mind, but nevertheless, he had his charges read to him, and he's saying they're monstrous.
They're monstrous. They're
charges.
obnoxious is another word he used. And I'm thinking, if you're so poor of mind and weak of spirit, you couldn't possibly have it within you to be disputing charges that are mounting every day. He sounded tentative in his mode of address, but strong in his words, which leaves me a bit confused.
Yeah,
Yes,
well,
he's
not going out without a fight. Come on.
That's got to be it.
He's going
8,000
brave.
people in that massacre at Srebrenica. That's horrific, certainly.
Yes.
But that's just one of the charges laid against him. But we'll continue to track that story as well as the trial is about to begin.
One of our local people is also in the news again. One of the people that I truly love. So her music video is causing quite a stir. We're talking about Rihanna, of course, and the Man Down video.
As I was saying to Pearson before, I was ready to sound off on that this morning because I've seen the music video, and yes, there are some controversial themes in it, but it is far from as offensive as some people are making out. And my position is that she's a 20-something-year-old entertainer. She's not the Pope. She's not a political activist. She's not a nun. She's not a social activist. She's an entertainer. And
find
being
it
held to those standards of being someone who always has to portray a positive message. She simply portrayed one of the many emotions that I would imagine comes when you have been the victim of sexual violence.
Yeah, and one of the things that continues to happen in our society, and if we're going to put a ban on things like that, on particularly black entertainment television or now-centric, we also have to look at what is going into the PS3 games, because some of them are seriously violent, and then there are the TV programs. You know, there's a lot of violence and everything, so we're going to have to curb everything then, not just zero in on one thing.
It's not so much, it's not utopia, Pearson. It's just that we are quite comfortable, or we appear to be comfortable, with the dual morality of continuing to vote for heads of state, female and male, who have accusations of adultery and all sorts of other misdemeanors against them. We continue to vote them into power. Yet an entertainer who, as the Bajans say, haven't seen 2 stars pitched, and has been very fortunate in her rise to stardom, is now being held up as some sort of a messianic hero who is meant to cure all the ills of society with one music video.
Well, she said point blank to everyone, she made her video for her fans, not for the critics. So, in other words, hold your opinion to yourself.
If you don't like me.
At the end of the day. I remember when she responded to those people who thought that because she was following Chris Brown on Twitter that was horrible, and she simply said to them, you know, point blank, this is not the altar.
Twitter is not a wedding.
Yeah.
Come on. You know, but that's just one of the things. There was something else you wanted to raise.
Yeah, I'm kind of concerned about what the health authorities are saying abroad regarding the E. coli breakout. It's not just that it has been running rampant and they can't seem to get it under control. It is the fact that they are now saying that it's a new strain that they've never seen before, and as such are unable to tackle it as vigorously as one would have hoped they'd be able to, which kind of makes me scared, because it makes you feel like, you know, what's the world coming to if even the bacteria is mutating? You know what I mean?
But the movies had this before we did. You know, they always seem to get a jump on us. And anything you see in the movies, somewhere down the road, maybe in 2050.
If you can think it, it is possible.
I suppose.
That's what it all boils down to. Nevertheless, there's much to get to this morning. Let's get to the top of the lines, the hot headlines.
Headlines. These are some of the stories that we'll be following in some more detail in our main news package at 7 o'clock. We hope you join us then. Pineland's Creative Workshop is on a mission to ensure that people get decent work as a means of lifting themselves from poverty. Director Rodney Grant says the organization will be revisiting a program undertaken in 1998 which examined the issues facing the labor market. Barbados has been assured that the United Kingdom remains committed to its trading partners. British High Commissioner to Bridgetown Paul Brummel says relations between the two countries are mutually beneficial. A local architect says Barbados must use its natural resources to support a green economy. Managing Director of Studio Blue Architects Incorporated, Neil Hutchinson, believes too much emphasis is placed on infrastructural development instead of preserving what is already there. It appears as though more children are being diagnosed as autistic. This suggestion from President of the Autistic Association of Barbados, Lawton Walcott. He was speaking during a presentation of equipment by the Australian government to the association. Regional carrier Liat has responded to charges from regional trade unions that its decision to send home workers at its Caribbean ticketing offices was disrespectful to the negotiating process. A news release last evening said the closure of the ticketing offices reflected the prevailing trend by airlines throughout the world and the shift in distribution and sales to telephone, travel agents and internet-based channels. Those have been your morning Barbados top lines. Do join us at the top of the hour for our main news package at 7 o'clock. But for right now, we've been mentioning some of the headlines across the world. We're going to find out a little bit more detail. Cassandra Crawford's got a copy of the International Herald Tribune.
I do, and it is provided through Newspaper Direct. You can call them at 436-1314. You can check out the website, www.newspaperdirect.com. And following on with that E. coli story, E. coli strain previously unknown, the WHO says, and this lead says, the World Health Organization said on Thursday that an unusually lethal strain of E. coli, which has infected more than 1,500 people in Germany, mystified public health officials and threatened to touch off panic in Europe, was a previously unknown variant of the bacteria, raising new concerns about the extent and severity of the contagion. As consumers across Europe weighed whether it was safe to eat raw produce, Russia extended a ban on fresh vegetable imports, initially imposed on produce from Spain and Germany, to encompass all of the European Union on Thursday, provoking a sharp response from European officials who called the move disproportionate. Well, we'll see how that goes. Another big headline on the front cover, U.S. opens inquiry into China over a hacking claim. Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton said yesterday that the FBI would investigate allegations by Google that China was the origin of clandestine attacks on its Gmail service. And those are some of the headlines on the front cover of the International Herald Tribune. We now tell you what's making headlines on our local newspapers.
We're going to get to that in just a moment, but we want to follow up on the whole question of what's happening across the world with E. coli, and we do have our Chief Medical Officer here in Barbados, Dr. Joy St. John, on the phone with us at this time. Dr. St. John, good morning to you.
Good morning.
We know it's a little bit early, but Barbadians are wondering still, what is E. coli and how does one get E. coli infection?
Well, you would get E. coli infection usually from consuming or drinking anything that is contaminated with the organism. And it is not something that is normally thought to be in the Barbadian picture. But luckily for Barbados, I do not know if you remember, we are currently engaged in a burden of illness study where we have been searching for unexpected causes of gastrointestinal illness. We've been in this study for several months now. We actually have people in the field. And what we have been doing, and it's been linked into our general surveillance system, what we have been doing with the burden of illness study is getting persons who have diarrhea, gastrointestinal illness, to submit stool samples, which we have been testing for a very wide range of causes of gastrointestinal illness, including E. coli.
So
So
E.
we have
coli,
we have been checking now for several months in Barbados for unusual causes of gastrointestinal illness, including E. coli.
We're hearing today, Dr. St. John, though, that it's been discovered now in the United States, and actually, you know, the association between ourselves when it comes to import-export products.
Exactly.
So
that's why I am so glad that we have been alert. We have been not only conducting the study, but we have linked it into our usual surveillance system. So we have been trying to pick up for several months now if there's been anything unusual going on in Barbados, or should I say if there have been, other than the usual causes of gastrointestinal illness, which normally for us would be salmonella. You're aware as well that we have had outbreaks of gastrointestinal illness because of viruses. So we have been monitoring. So it was something that I was actually using as a sort of early warning system for cholera. So we can just continue what we have been doing. It is important for me to tell the general public, though, because, as you said, of our linkages with the traveling public, that if they're having issues, that they should report them to the doctor. If they're having loose stools, they should ensure that they bring in a sample quickly and let us get it tested.
So, Dr. St. John, we have really then been proactive about the early monitoring and the flagging up. But on the ground, people are traveling. Bajans are very well-traveled people. They are interested in other cultures. For the person on the ground who just wants to know, especially in light of the announcement that this is a new strain, especially in Europe, that they're not quite sure how to handle, what do we do precaution-wise? If we're traveling, if we have family coming from overseas, what do we look for? Just to calm any restless spirits that are starting to get nervous.
Well, not only have we been testing, but we have also been using novel and tried measures of telling persons how to prepare food, how to ensure when they use the bathroom or interact with children with diapers, that they must wash their hands. So we have been sending out for several months now, even via text message. We have been sending out general hygiene measures. So for the general public, what is important is that they employ general hygiene measures. And if there is a change, if there is vomiting, if there is diarrhea, that they seek the attention of their doctor, ensure that they bring in a stool sample, and ensure that the doctor, because we've been detailing doctors quietly behind the scenes all the time about these issues, about these matters. We send out bulletins, and we remind them of the burden of illness study. We've been detailing doctors that if they have an index of suspicion, a case that they're worried about, to get the stool sample into us as quickly as possible. The general public needs to remember good, clean hands, especially after using the bathroom or handling diapers. And if there's a change, seek your doctor's attention and ensure that the doctor alerts the Ministry of Health if there's anything that they're worried about.
Is there anything, Dr. St. John, that persons should also be looking for to when they eat out in public spaces, something that should be on location? We know that in recent years, the installation of sanitizing machines was a big thing. Is there anything else that you should keep your eyes out for?
Well, first of all, you need to be sure of the source of the food that you're cooking is a source that would not allow organisms to be in the food. So if you are going to be eating, make sure it's a restaurant that has been passed by the health authorities. If you're going to be choosing the type of food, it is not wise to choose uncooked foods,
Right.
especially uncooked meats. It is also not wise to be using fresh fruit and vegetables unless you're sure that the source of water is very clean, that has been used to wash the fruit and vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
You can use peeled or cooked ground provisions. Do not choose this time to be eating exotic foods or eating uncooked or less than well-cooked foods, especially if there is an alert of a particular location. The United States is huge, but if there's a particular location where they have had cases, that is not the time to go to a street vendor that you don't have a clue about and eat a half raw burger.
Speaking of street vendors, crop over is coming up. I guess we'll need to make sure that they're reminded of these things as well.
Oh, we do more than just remind them. We actually have clinics with
Good
them.
stuff.
The persons that are registered with crop over, and also we send out. We go through this every year because that's one thing about Barbados. We do not want gastrointestinal outbreaks at seasons like that. We're very, very vigilant.
All right.
So we
Excellent.
actually get them together and train them, and we actually monitor at these big events, the public events.
Well, Dr. St. John, we really want to thank you so much for getting up so early to respond to our questions
Yes, you
about
woke me up.
What a
You
nice
sound so
wake-up
alert.
call.
And we thank you for your experience and expertise as well. We hope that should there be any change at all, that you do feel free to give us a call here at Morning Barbados, CBC
Yes,
News,
yes.
and so we can keep our publics up
Yes,
to
we
date on
had
what's
just
happening.
gotten our alert officially, although I've been watching it for the last couple of days. We've just gotten our alert officially from PAHO.
Oh, wonderful.
So the epidemiologist, Dr. Springer, and I were discussing this last night. So it is a good thing that we maintain a level of vigilance.
Indeed.
So
I'm
we
sure
just
our
put a
public-
layer specific to E. coli now on top of what we've been doing for several months. So we will be sending out our bulletins to the doctors and so on. And if there is any other information for the general public, of course we will use the media generally to get that out.
We look forward to it very much, Dr. St. John, and I know I'm a little bit more comfortable with your explanations and with the precautionary measures that you've advised, and we look forward to getting an update. Dr. Joy St. John on the phone there giving us an update not just on Barbados' vigilance with monitoring gastrointestinal diseases, but now with the new outbreak of E. coli, what we can do to protect ourselves. That was an interesting update there, person.
Indeed so. But quickly, just let's tell you what's in today's Barbados Advocate. On the front page, it says, time for change, efficient waste management system must be developed. They're looking at the whole question of the drug squad revealing worrying trends. You can read that story as well. The Garrison area holds great potential. And on the back page, recognition key to the athlete's success. We know that. But certainly you can read that story in today's Advocate newspaper. We haven't yet received the Nation, but you can go out and get your copy of the dailies and abreast yourself of what's happening.
Cassandra, packed schedule this morning.
Taste of the Caribbean is coming up again. The team is preparing to represent. They did well last time, and we look forward to sending a team, our golden team, up, and they're here today. Today we'll focus on the drink mixing, but we'll hear a lot more about the team as well.
We'll hear too from the St. Philip's Constituency Council and some programs that they're having on there.
Anyone who's been following the bleaching controversy with Vibes, is it? Vibes Cartel, will find out what the historical and cultural and religious implications are of altering skin, hair, and all those other things. That's only in your first half. So we're going to take a break. And when we come back, Morning Barbados will be back with a packed program on this fabulous Friday. Please don't go away.
Morning Barbados, good